Hi, if you are finding this video, then that means that this is for you. Hi, I'm Tiffany, also known as Naturally Chic. Chic is spelled SHYCC, and that's simply how you construct classy, but we do it naturally. We dabble a little bit of fashion, beauty, lifestyle, and encouragement along the way. So if this is your first time, welcome. And if you're returning, always thank you for your support, your love, and your encouragement as well. Today, I just want to encourage your hearts. We are all going through something, whether it's financial, whether it's physical, whether it's emotional, or whether we're just blah. We're just over it. We don't see a way. So I wanted to encourage you. I was sitting here and, going through myself, and then I know people around me and my loved ones are. And so I wanted to encourage you. And I know when you encourage someone else, it also encourages your heart. I was sitting here and I was thinking about when um, my dad had a stroke, and then my mom hadn't worked for years, and I told him to come down here and live with me. I said, come live with me. It'll take the burden off of you. Told my mom it'll take the burden off of her because my dad was paralyzed. And she turned into being a caregiver at 50. She turned into being a caregiver. And so I said, move down here with me. And my sister had just turned 18. She's graduating. So I had a newborn at home, and I had two older daughters, 6 and 7. So I told her, I said, come down there and live with me. Now, mind you, I'm the only one working. My brother and my sister-in-law, they had lost their home. And so it was them and their children. I'm the only one working, house full. But I was obedient. And obedience is always better than sacrifice. Obedience will always pay. And fast forward a little bit, a few years, I think maybe 2 years later, the house that I was renting, it was a 4 bedroom, 2 bath home. And my parents, I gave them my master, and the water heater started going out. And I was in the guest room. My sister shared with my baby, and then the two oldest ones, they shared a room. So everybody was comfortable, we and making it do what it do. And the water heater started acting up. And so I would have to go out there, turn it off, turn it on to get it just to get hot water. And so I started telling the management company, the hot water is going out. The heater is going out. For some reason, it's acting up. And so I would try to get in touch with the landlord. He wasn't responding. And I'm just like, okay, that's abnormal. I've been here for 4 years, no issues. And he just was not responding, and I'm like, okay, that's odd. And so then I reached out to the rental company, and I said, I've been reaching out to him, but there's no response. And so one day I got something in the mail, and it told me that the house had foreclosed. And I'm just like, huh? I've never been late on my rent, nothing. The house is foreclosed. What do you mean? In the same breath, the house had foreclosed, and an investor bought it. And the investor, they let me know that I would need to move. And I'm like, okay, where am I gonna go? God, where am I gonna go? They said, if you can be out in 2 weeks, we'll give you money to move. It's nice to have money to move, but if you don't have anywhere to go, that money is null and void, because I'm stressing because I have my parents, I have my children, I have myself, and I have my sister. By that time, my brother and his wife had moved to Denver. So I still have a lot, and I'm stressed. I'm stressed. My mother and I are looking at homes, and we, I saw one and I liked it. I'm like, okay, I love this. It's nice. This is a really nice house. And we went and looked, and I called, and she said, oh my God, we just rented it out like 30 minutes ago. And my heart sunk, because I was like, okay, good. Because, I'm like, okay, we just started the search. Found the house. It gives me time to pack and move, easy peasy. And when she said that they just rented it out, I was like, are you kidding me? And So then my mom had went to her prayer meeting, and she said, Tiffany, she said, you'll come pick me up. And I said, yes. So I went to pick her up. And I heard the Lord tell me, wherever you go, it's not going to be contingent on the house is empty and it's waiting on you. And I'm like, well, Lord, where is it? Because I'm stressed. By that time, I was stressed. Not only that, but I was going to a women's retreat, and my parents had paid. It was like, are you going to go? And I'm like, no, I can't. A women's retreat, I can't do that right now because I need to find a place. And she said, no, you need to go. And I said, okay, I'll be obedient. But I was reluctant. So I went, and when we first got there, I couldn't have fun. I couldn't even enjoy myself because I was stressed. And that night I went to sleep, I was stressed. That morning I got up early. And so I went and I got on my knees and I started praying. And I just cried out to God because I'm like, God, we got to have somewhere to go. We have to be moved next week. And it's Thursday of this week. And I don't get back until Saturday. That means I am down to the wire. And so I was praying and crying out to God, and He said, you'll know where you're moving on Sunday. Just like that. You will know where you're moving on Sunday. I got up and I enjoyed the rest of the trip. So I had found a couple of places while I was gone. And I said, well, when I come back, I told my mom, she was picking me up from the church. I said, when you pick me up, I got some places that I want to go and look at. And she said, okay. So she picked me up, and I drove, and she said, well, where is it? And I said, well, we're just going to follow the directions. I don't know where it's at. So we got off the interstate, and I was following the directions, and I said, this isn't it. I just drove by it. I said, this isn't it. She said, how you know? I said, because it's just not. It's not that God is showing me a picture, but it didn't resonate with what was in my spirit. And so we went home, and I'm just like, God, it's Saturday. So I went to sleep like clockwork. 1:30 Sunday morning, God woke me up and said, go. And He told me, the Holy Spirit told me exactly where to go. And so I looked online, and the first house that I pulled up, I said, you're kidding me. It was, when I tell you, the first house that I pulled up, I said, you are kidding me. The house was gorgeous. It was huge. It was gorgeous. But not only that, it was in my price range. And I'm saying to myself, this house got to be about $5,000 a month. No, it was not. It was right in my price range. And I was smiling. Then I went back to sleep. So after church, I told my mom, I said, I'm gonna stop by the grocery store because I'm a cook. I said, but before that, I'm gonna go look at this house. And so when I was going around the curve, following the directions, and I turned on the street, and I was going up, I said, Lord, this ain't it. I just like that. I was like, this ain't it. And I started to turn around, and the Lord said, keep going. So I kept going. And it's like when I got through the top of the hill to turn into the subdivision, my mouth was like, you are kidding me. God, you are kidding me. This cannot be it. And I kept on, I was smiling, the girls were smiling. And we pulled up, and I said, oh my God. So I went home, I cooked, and I said, Mom, I want you to go somewhere with me. And so we went back over there, and we looked at the house. We walked around the outside. I said, this is it. This is it. So I text my realtor, and I said, I want to go look at this house. I said, can you see if it's still available? And so I went to work that Monday. He texted me that morning. He said, the house is available. Can you look at it, be there at 1:30? And I said, yeah, I'll be there. I took off, and I went to look at that. I said, but I'm gonna go by and grab Mom. And so I went by, and I got my mom, and we drove over and met him there. We walked in the house. It was French doors when you walked in. So when we walked into the house, I said, this is it. In my mind, I said, this is it. And so I'm walking around, and somebody was like, well, how you know? Because everything that I'd asked God for, it was in the house and more. And I went upstairs, I turned around, and I came back. I said, this is it. He said, you sure? I said, yes, this is it. Not only was it, but it had been empty. It was waiting on us, just like God had told me. We were able to get the house. We were able to get moved out and in the amount of time that was needed. When I tell you obedience, it pays to be obedient, because not only did I not have to spend my own money, they paid me to move out. The house was twice as big, twice the size. It was everything that I needed for my parents, for my children, for myself. When I tell you God is so faithful, and even in this season, He's still faithful, because I didn't see a way. I did not see a way. I didn't see no hope. I didn't see nothing, because I knew that for what I needed to pay, I knew that for what I needed, I was going to have to pay way more, and it was not going to be in my price range. But God said, I got you. And He had me. He had me. So I'm just here to encourage you that no matter what you're going through, that God sees, He hears, He knows. His no's can be yeses, meaning it may be for your good. His yes will be for your good. His no will be for your good. The closed door is for your good. The open door is for your good. God always has our back, and He's no respecter person. What He's done for one, He will do for the other. And because when you give testimony, it's like God and I have history. Sometimes I have to remind myself, you're not no respecter person, God. And what you did once, you'll do it again. You will do it again. He's never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed beg bread. And so I have to say, God, I'm your seed. I don't care what's going on. Some of us have lost jobs. We don't have the same amount of money that's called for us to pay out each month, but God is still faithful. He's still multiplying. He is still multiplying. He's still doing, and the heart of the king is still in His hands. And if He needs to turn it one way, if He needs to create positions, call on God, and what they say, put a demand on Him. God, you're no respecter person, because He's still a miracle worker. He's still a hope. He's still our foundation. He's an opener door. He's a closed door. He is whatever you need Him to be. So I hope this helped, because it really, truly helped me and boosted something that I needed today. So I hope it did the same for you. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and just encouragement. And if you like it, check out the other things that I have and think about subscribing. But if not, I hope that this encouraged you and that you can sow that into somebody else. You all be blessed and take care. Until the next video, I'll see you then. I just enjoy